Okay, welcome back. This module is all about what capitalism teaches you as an individual that keeps you buying, that keeps your self worth low. Okay. Unlike with the module where we talked about what patriarchy teaches you, I am not going to be separating this based on male or female. Capitalism operates outside the confines of gender. Capitalism operates outside the confines of race. Okay. All capitalism cares about is, are you spending money? Are you giving your time and energy to the economy? That is what capitalism cares about. So, in this lesson, I want to go through 6 different ways, 6 different lies that capitalism tells you about yourself and who you are. So that way, through the rest of this institute, you can figure out what it is you're here to unlearn. As I mentioned in one of the first modules, every single one of these sections after these is going to say, hey, listen, this is what I'm here to teach you today. And this is the capitalist or patriarchal lesson you're here to unlearn. Again, every single one of the modules comes with a literature companion, questions to think on at the end. And it's exactly what you need in this moment. Okay. All right. Okay. So lesson number one. The first lesson that capitalism teach you is that time is always running out. Okay. The core message here is that you have to rush. You have to always be doing, and that slowness is laziness. Okay. Capitalism's first big lie is you are always running out of time. From the moment you wake up, the clock is just ticking. If you don't move fast enough, produce fast enough, respond fast enough, then what? You'll be left behind. You'll be unworthy. You'll be useless. But time is a construct. It was manufactured to keep workers in sync with factory bells, right? This obsession with productivity stems not from human nature, but industrial greed. Okay. And when you internalize that belief, you panic. You will move in a way that you're not ready to move. You say yes before you're ready. You buy before you've thought it through. You work when your body is begging you to rest. In anti capitalist living, we reclaim slowness. We pause. We breathe. We let intuition lead instead of the clock and some made up timeline. Time is not running out. Remember, this is a construct. It is all made up. Your worth isn't on a countdown timer, okay? You get to move as slowly as you need. And that is really where your power lives, okay? All right, the next lesson. Lesson number 2, you are only valuable if you are producing. The core message here is that productivity is tied to self-worth and that rest equals uselessness. Capitalism ties your value to your output. You are only as worthy as your last deliverable, okay? If you are not constantly producing for that company, for that multi-billion-dollar conglomerate, you are not worthy. Your rest and your right to rest must be earned through exhaustion. Capitalism lives for your exhaustion. And if you're still, you're lazy, okay? And if you're lazy, you're a failure, which drives me bonkers because after I stop recording this module, I'm gonna go lay down in the bed because I'm tired, okay? And this belief, it keeps you spinning. Even when you've done enough, you feel guilty for resting. You scroll while you're resting because I'm in the bed now, but I should probably set up this appointment and I should probably buy that thing that I forgot to get. And it's like you clean while you're resting. You market while you're resting, okay? Because to stop feels dangerous. But it's not. It's liberating, okay? Anti-capitalist business, anti-capitalist living. They require you to decouple your identity from hustle. Anti-capitalist living and business tells you that hustle will not get you what you want. Rest is. You are not your KPIs. You are not your KPIs. You don't even care about them company KPIs it is that you work for. That meeting could have been an email. Better yet, you could have just left me alone. Okay? You are not your to-do list. You are not your job title. You are already worthy simply because you are a human and you exist on the material plane. Rest is not a threat to your productivity. It's actually the source of it. Weaponizing your rest is one of the easiest ways that you can get rid of capitalism entirely, okay? And the more you rest, the more clearly you can see what actually matters, okay? So that's lesson number 2. You're only valuable if you're producing. Lesson number 3, you must always be spending. The core message here is that you are harming the economy if you are not buying. Flash sales define your relevance, which we love to do on a certain clock app, okay? Capitalism tells you buy the new phone, buy the new course, buy the new outfit, because who you were yesterday, she's already outdated. He's old news. He's not going to work anymore. There's always something better. And if you don't have it, you're behind. If you don't have it, you're irrelevant. You're not part of the trend. You're not part of the wave. That's what capitalism tries to tell you. But that's not the truth, right? That's a form of marketing. And in later modules, we'll talk about how marketing can stand outside of capitalism, but advertising cannot. That is an entirely different module, and I'm really excited to teach that one. But it's costing you more than money. It's costing you your clarity. It's keeping you in a loop of craving and regret. Because when you crave something that you don't necessarily need, right, and then you buy it, then what do you get? Buyer's remorse. And then you're like, oh, should I have bought that? That's because you made a decision to buy something before your nervous system could actually catch up with the decision it was that you made. And that's the point of the flash sales. That's the point of buy one, get one free. And again, there's other modules on this inside of this institute that I'm going to teach you how to catch marketing and advertising that is designed to keep you spending, okay? And instills in the belief that you must always be spending, okay? But then you get stuck in this loop of, I need more things, and then I regret the things that I buy. And then in order to make myself feel better about the regret, I buy even more things, and then I go back into the cycle of regret, okay? And the newness of everything it is that you get, it never satisfies you because the belief is underneath. That's what needs healing. You don't actually need more stuff. You need to heal the belief that goes underneath. And that's what the purpose of this institute is. Okay. When you opt out of that cycle, you reclaim your center. You no longer need to buy things to prove anything to anyone. First of all, you buying stuff to impress people you don't even like. You spending money to keep up with the Joneses. The Joneses ain't got no money either. Okay? You no longer need to upgrade to belong. You don't need the latest iPhone. What's it doing for you that the one you got last year isn't? Is it really that important? Okay? You belong here because you exist, not because you put into what the economy tells you to put into. And the life that you're building doesn't constantly need to be updated and upgraded. It needs to be aligned. And having the latest and greatest thing doesn't always mean alignment. It means you're trending, okay? All right, lesson 4. This is what we're talked about. You must always be upgrading, okay? Again, what you bought last year is no longer enough. You are old news, it's dusty. Your value is tied to trends and appearances. This is lesson number 4 that capitalism teaches you. Capitalism's trap is endless improvement. Always upgrading, always optimizing, always competing, which is huge, okay? But the truth is that your value doesn't live in your wardrobe, okay? It doesn't live in your tech stack, especially for entrepreneurs. And it doesn't live in your aesthetic. I have a pretty decent camera that I'm recording this with. I have a really cute setup. Okay, I got the boom arm, I got all this. But what you don't see is that I'm in the corner of my master bedroom because this is where I got the light, okay? I could have easily hired a studio to do all of this for me. I could have went out, I could have outsourced all of this and made it look super professional, but I didn't need to do that. And I didn't need to do that because you're not necessarily paying attention to my tech stack. You're more concerned about what it is that I'm actually teaching you, okay? You don't always have to be upgrading. You don't always have to have the next best thing, okay? When you chase upgrades in order to feel relevant, you're never satisfied. You're chasing someone else's version of success, someone else's vision for success. Capitalism wants you to believe that your last decision was a mistake. Let me say that again. Capitalism wants you to believe that your last decision was a mistake, okay? Anti-capitalist living tells you it was a lesson. You learned something from it. There's nothing to correct. There's only a way to move forward. You are allowed to choose again, not because you're behind, but because you are more aware. You've learned something, now you can grow from it. Not, oh, I didn't do that right. Let me run that back and do it again. Okay? You don't always have to be upgrading. You are okay where you are. I promise. I promise. Okay, lesson number 5. Lesson number 5 is heavy. What capitalism teach you? It teaches you that your debt is your fault, even if the system you're in created it. Okay? You are taught to borrow, and then you are shamed for borrowing. Capitalism offers you credit and then punishes you for using it. Okay? Capitalism gave you a credit card and then shamed you when you used too much of it. It said you could buy now and pay later. And then it whispered, you're irresponsible for doing that. It told you to go to school, take out loans. And then it said you should have known better. Right? And that's not just hypocrisy. That's not just hypocritical in the highest capacity. It is harmful. The same system that encourages debt punishes you for having it. Here's a credit card, 0% interest for 10 months. But if you miss a payment or you go into the 10th month and one day they're going to slap you with that 30% interest rate so fast. So fast. I'm talking to you, Amex. And it's like they'll hit you with it and then they'll be like, well, we gave you 10 months. What did you do with that? You're irresponsible. And then they'll say, here's an $18,000 limit, but don't come close to that because then you're irresponsible for using all of it. Okay, but then why did you give it to me if you was going to call me irresponsible for having it? And then they'll tell you that you are not a respectful person, right? There's little trust there if you don't use any of the credit that you're using, right? Oh, you have 18,000 but you don't use any of it. That's suspicious. How can we trust you if you're not using the credit we've lent you? Pick a plot, capitalism. You want me to use the debt that you lent to me or you don't want me to use it at all? Because when I use it, you call me irresponsible. And when I don't use it, you call me suspicious and unreliable. Which one is it? Okay? And this, again, it's a system that encourages debt and punishes you for having it, also punishes you for not using it. It dangles financial freedom in front of you, but only if you play by the rules that are impossible to understand. Okay? You are not bad with money. You are surviving a system that is designed to confuse and trap you. There is no morality in a credit score. Okay? And I know that that is an American thing, but it's like, your credit score does not determine how good of a person you are. And capitalism has made you believe that, okay? There is no righteousness in savings if it costs you your peace, okay? Okay, no interest rate, but at what cost? At what cost? We have to redefine financial health. And it's not about perfection, but it's about power. It's about clarity. It's about consent. Consent, because nobody talks about consent in the financial industry. Nobody talks about consent when it comes to credit cards and student loans. Because why were you asking me when I was 17 years old if I was okay taking out $100,000 in student loans and then told me I should have known better when I can't pay them back? That sounds predatory to me, but okay, go off. Go off. All right. The very last lesson that capitalism teaches you is that your time and your money are the only measures of your worth. The core message here is that everything becomes transactional. Rest, joy, and emotion have zero economic value. And I want you to sit with that for just a minute because I want you to think about all of the ways that you have actually believed that. I want you to think about all the ways that you have bought into that. Okay? Capitalism doesn't see your joy. It doesn't measure your creativity. There's no humanity in it. It doesn't value your rest. It only sees output and income, time and money. And when you internalize that, you start to treat your life like it's a transaction too. But you're not a transaction. You are a human being with rhythms and cycles and needs. Men, you operate in a 24-hour cycle. As women, we operate in a 28 to 30-day cycle. We are allowed to rest and to feel and to wander. You know how they say not all who wander are lost? You're allowed that. You are allowed to do nothing and still be worthy. You are allowed to be slow moving and still be brilliant. Ask my middle child that. Way too smart for her own good. Very slow moving, very snail. It's giving turtle, okay? You are allowed to exist without spending money 24/7. You are allowed to spend your time binge watching your favorite show and not having to do anything for anyone, okay? Your life is more than just a productivity chart. Your life is more than just checking off tick boxes saying that you did something today. Your purpose is more than what you produce. Hear me when I say that again. Your purpose is more than what you produce. It is time for you to reclaim the things that capitalism never taught you to value and lead from those instead. To actually value your time, to value your emotions, to value the things that you've always wanted for yourself that you were told were not important enough. Okay. So as you move forward in this institute into all of other these modules, I want you to, again, I will remind you at the top of each module which lesson you're here to unlearn at the beginning of them. And it will be in the literature companion that goes with each. But I want you to remember too that again, your debt is not your fault. You don't always have to be upgrading. You don't always need to have the next best thing, especially when you bought the thing yesterday and the next best thing came out the next day. What the hell? You're not supposed to keep up with all that. Okay. You don't always have to be spending. You don't always have to be doing. You don't always have to be producing. You don't have to answer that email as soon as you got it. You don't have to answer the phone when people are calling you. You don't want to be bothered. Put people on do not disturb. Send people to voicemail. Okay. I don't know you. I don't want to talk to you. Okay? Your time and your money are not your only measures of worth. In fact, time and money are energies of abundance that you have so much of. Don't let an economic system decide what that means for you and how you get to use any of it. Okay? Because when you fear that you have to give other people your time, you feel like you're running out of more of it. When you feel like you only ever have to pay people your money, you keep more money from coming to you because you're not on the frequency of gratitude with it. Do not let people decide what you get to do with your time, what you get to do with your money. And certainly do not let capitalism continue to make you believe that those are the only two measures of success as a human. Okay. All right. That was this module. I'm going to catch you on the next one.